Micronesia, one of the least known regions of our planet. Inaccessible islands scattered far and wide in the Pacific and forgotten by the rest of the world. In Pohnpei, Augustin is the solitary sentinel of a cursed city thousands of years old, Nan Madol. Pasan, a tribal chief. He counts his fortune not in gold ingots, but in stone. The island of Yap has an exchange system unlike any other on Earth. Bruce, an inveterate traveler, has dedicated his life to the most isolated islands. Thanks to him, remote villages are being connected with the rest of the world.
This area in the Pacific, the most remote areas on Earth, I think that these areas here are the most undiscovered and the most little known, the vast areas. I think we know more about the moon than we do about this deep ocean waters off of Micronesia.
Flecks of land scattered across a blue background. Micronesia, 2,000 little worlds surrounded by the vast ocean. And just as many distinct cultures, each with its own language, history, and beliefs. The one thing they have in common is the feeling that the Pacific Ocean is their only link with the rest of the universe. Getting to know these lands with their oral culture means allowing oneself to be lulled by the tales of the elders. As we fly over Pohnpei, we skim the surface of the island's mystery. According to the legend, 16 men and women landed on this island after a long, meandering voyage at sea in a great canoe. The 16 voyagers prayed and prayed, and the more they prayed, the more it rained. The tears falling from heaven gave birth to the island's rivers, waterfalls, forests, and animals. That's the miracle of Pohnpei. Its name, Pohnpei, means island born from prayer. Hidden away in the jungle behind a curtain of clouds lies the ruins of a city dating back almost 3,000 years. We have to approach it with an open mind, accepting its enigma, for we know almost nothing about this city. It's a testimony to a vanished civilization, that of the Sodlers, the dynasty reigning here at the time.
And if you look up here, there was something over here built from before.
On this island.
On this
right?
island.
On this island.
But the ocean washed it out.
That's one of the reasons I've been doing this is, you know, we're studying the erosion, you know, we're trying to protect and preserve Nan Madol for future generations, and I can see erosion right there.
Yeah, right there on the erosion is because it's closer to the breakers.
That's right. That's right. Wow.
And there's a school of fish out here. Damn.
Oh, wow.
I'm going fishing tomorrow.
Okay. Wow, look at that. My goodness.
There she is. Always amazing.
Augustin is extremely moved as he flies over this strange city built on the water.
So beautiful.
He's state conservator of the site and has dedicated his whole life to it. He is above all the keeper of an enigma. Nan Madol means the spaces between, a reference to the canals that circulate among the 100 or so artificial islets. These spaces give free rein to the imagination and dreams.
Well, Well, this will go down as one of the best trips in my lifetime, that's for sure.
Yeah.
From the sky, Nan Madol is even more mysterious. Its architecture gives us an idea of how amazingly skillful the builders were.
You see the trees and the rocks, and it's like they were placed there together a long time ago. The mangroves and the rocks, they make a unity, you know. There's a composition there. You know. It's amazing, the symmetry of all the buildings, you know. How was it possible, you know, for the architect to build, you know, and the design? They're so, you can see what the straight lines, the canals, everything down there, you know. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, to me, I'm thinking they must have had a plane a long time ago, and the engineer was up in the sky and then looking down and then directing everybody, because everything is in place. I mean, it's just perfect from up here.
And beneath the surface of the ocean, the mystery thickens. Certain legends suggest that Nan Madol is the entryway to an even more magnificent city lying at the bottom of the sea. Jimmy has been looking for proof of its existence for years. He proceeds with caution and respect for the ancients. The strangeness of the spot is not at all reassuring, just the opposite. It takes courage to explore the bowels of this sunken city. Diving here means defying the deep-seated beliefs of the islanders.
We don't know who constructed Nan Madol, how the builders managed it, and in particular how they transported the stones. But the spirits are there, that's for sure. But one mustn't talk about them. The spirits don't like that. They could punish us. In any case, there's magic involved. Maybe that's the answer.
What curses protected the city? What could instill such fear in the local inhabitants that for centuries they refused to go near it? That long-vanished dynasty still has a strong hold on the living, like a clinging veiled shadow. Even today, very few dare profane the sacred territory of Nan Madol. They all fear the cruel vengeance of the spirits.
I think it adds to the mystery of Nan Madol. You know, all this jungle, you know, it's covering here. Because before, you know, nobody was allowed here except if you came here to pay tribute to the chiefs or the Southern lords. You know, so in a way, this jungle is covering, it's like a mystery. It keeps its secrets to itself.
Augustin and Jimmy are both obsessed by these secrets. Too many unanswered questions.
Thousands of years ago, we had people living here. And, you know, walking in their footsteps now, you know, it's it gives me a sense of pride, knowing that they were capable of this amazing architecture. And also, I mean, not only the architecture, but you can imagine how many years and how many people it took to build this amazing place. I think what it required then was, a ruler who was really strong to command all the people and, the many years for them to build. So I think at that time, maybe Pohnpei was centralized. It was unified under one ruler.
The stones are basalt, carefully fit together in these amazing constructions that doggedly continue to resist the ravages of time. Beneath the surface, huge blocks lie scattered around the foot of the massive walls. You can almost hear the hushed murmur of their tale. Gnawed by his desire to understand, Jimmy tirelessly studies these columns that seem to be pointing in a direction. He's searching for some glimmer of truth here, where the undertow is eating away at the stone. The basalt comes from the other side of Pohnpei, many kilometers away. Quarrying the stone from the mountainside, carving it into columns, transporting, then fitting them together, tons and tons of rock were moved with Stone Age tools. Contemplating this colossal work, you catch yourself believing in magic.
Well, for us locals, it's really impressive to imagine how huge blocks of rock like this can be built on top of each other. Especially we know before we don't have any machinery to build this. So locals believe that it was by magic that they were able to put these blocks on top of each other. You can imagine how huge this, I mean, this may weigh probably tons, tons. My theory of it is that they used nature, the natural elements, to build Nantowas. So I think when the tide was high, that's when they lifted the rocks. That's my theory.
Augustin, a solitary sentinel, watches over the site. Yet he is a powerless witness as it slowly disappears. Eroded by the ocean, Nan Madol's days are numbered.
The walls over the years, they've crumbled down, because of time, and the ocean, climate change and everything. And that's what we're trying to protect. We want to see how we can preserve this so people can come and enjoy it and see what it was like before.
The walls still thrust up proudly towards the sky, like a final challenge, and tell the tale of the Sodlers, a nation of inspired builders caught by some fatal surprise, a barbarian invasion, an unknown plague. The outside walls form an arrow, pointing towards where?
And along the walls we found few of the rocks that falling down from the main walls. That's where those pieces of rock that we found today, we bring it for the example of maybe it's part of the rocks or it's collapsed from the main rocks.
Like it's the kind of rock.
Augustin and Jimmy often discuss their different theories. Like all the inhabitants of the island, the mystery of Nan Madol is part of their life.
One of the pillars is about 8 or 10 feet long, and the other one is 15 or 16 feet long underwater. And what I hear from the locals, they believe that maybe it's a gateway to the underwater cities.
There are many theories, but like the lost continent, but those are Western theories, As far as we're concerned, we have a city here called Nan Madol, and there's possibly an underwater city that we don't know of. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of rocks underneath the water. So Pohnpei, the locals say it's a gateway to some underwater city. But maybe being part of the mystery, nobody has found it yet.
Nobody leaves Nan Madol without falling under the spell of the lost city, symbol of an empire that collapsed suddenly. Why? Only their city remains. A few square kilometers of land lost in the immensity of the ocean. Yap lives forgotten by the rest of the world. Like everywhere else in Micronesia, the extreme isolation has led the inhabitants to invent a system of values and exchange found nowhere else in the world.
Yeah, down and clear. Roger.
Gliding through the transparent waters of the lagoon, we encounter the mythical manta rays, guardians of a facet of this island's singular history. At the bottom of the ocean lies a veritable treasure. This disk of stone with a hole in the center relates an extraordinary tale, the adventure of intrepid navigators. Everyone on Yap knows this story, for it has been handed down since the dawn of time from generation to generation. Like in the family of Pasan. Pasan is the headman of the village of Toru, the one who transmits the lore of the ancestors. On Yap, nothing is like anywhere else, and no matter. Pasan's family is highly respected on the island, and today is a special day. He wants to share the secrets of his ancestors with his son. So for this ritual, we'll have to go over to the other side of the island. We'll be taking a path that long ago Pasan's own father once showed him. This stone disc, recognizable by its form, is the first step on the path. Pasan's son has to learn its history, for that is what makes it so valuable.
This comes from the high chiefs of this village, and they ask the people to work on the stone path. And so when the road was completed, then the chiefs came in and say thank you to people, and this is one of the stone money they give to my family.
For that's exactly what they are. These stone discs are the equivalent of our gold ingots. There are some 6,000 of them on Yap. They're used to buy land, to build a house, to buy a boat. They are also given to the fiancée by her suitor as a dowry. These stones are the basis of all major transactions, even though the dollar is the currency for everyday purchases.
It's one of the biggest that I have, and that's one. And the second one is because it is gone into competition between the chiefs, so it has a story to tell.
Pasan's authority derives mainly from his ancestral lineage, but it's also based on his heritage. His family owns 21 stones, an impressive number. Thanks to them, his children will be able to assume a respectable position in this island society.
Let's see. It's more like an insurance. You feel safe that you have them. You feel secure in some sense that you have this stone money, and you feel able to participate in the traditional events, competitions, whatever, dancing, things like this, because you feel secure that you can participate into those bigger events that would happen in Yap.
On the scale of the vast Pacific, Yap seems tucked away in a corner of the map, a far-off world that lives completely closed in on itself.
Identity is something very popular now. Everywhere, if I go somewhere, I say I'm from Yap, then people will say, oh, the land of stone money. So it is a very, very obvious identity.
The enormous discs encapsulate the history of Yap. They can weigh up to 15 tons. To move them, the islanders roll them, but the lighter stones can be carried by just 2 men. The island is far from anywhere, so they have to be resourceful with what they have at hand. It's one of the prime rules of life here. The outrigger canoes are necessary for survival. These craft date back to the dawn of history. These great navigators have been using these boats for centuries to escape their isolation. No need for a sextant or compass. The sailors of Yap read the stars.
It doesn't cost fuel, and you travel on a canoe is very, very good. It's very quiet, no engine, no fuel spent, and the materials and everything is from Yap.
In the heart of Teru, Pasan's village, the stone discs, as precious as they are, line the path like a series of landmarks in the islanders' memory. These roads are nothing less than open-air banks.
We have a very big one also. Let's go over and see. It's a very big stone money. This is the biggest one that we have. In the beginning, it came from Palau. People from this village went to Palau and participate in the carving and then bring it to this village, and now we have it here.
Here there's no gold, no precious gems, no pearls. Just these gigantic discs of aragonite, quarried by raw manpower from a far-off island, Palau, about 250 nautical miles from Yap. It takes days and days at sea to cover such a distance. In order to create a system of exchange centuries ago, the Yap Islanders set out in search of something that didn't exist on their island. They came back from Palau with these stones, and since there was nothing like them on Yap, they were precious. A system of exchange was born.
The value comes from the hardship of obtaining a stone money. First of all, you have to learn navigation, and then obtain the knowledge of building a canoe, and then you build those canoe, and then you have people that trust the navigator that can participate on the sailing, then sail to Palau, which is very hard in those days. It's done with navigating with the stars. Wait. Because we need his help sometimes.
For hundreds of years, they risked their lives sailing the Pacific. These trips were veritable initiatory voyages. Pasan also made this trip to honor the memory and courage of his ancestors.
They were good sailors and also very good people with big heart to go and do something that generations and generations until us at this moment, we're still very proud of what they've done long time ago.
Those navigators had to face many dangers: storms, high seas, typhoons, and there was always the danger of simply disappearing into the infinite blue expanse. The navigators were equipped with no more than the wisdom of their ancestors, handed down from generation to generation.
At times in the history of Yap, we don't just lose the stone money, we lose everything. Even the crew and the navigators, everybody, we don't know where they're gone. We lost them all.
These vessels seem ridiculously frail to undertake such an adventure, which is the very cornerstone of the Yap identity. On board these canoes, it's the cohesion of their society that is at stake.
So we have a very poor economy, very small economy, and abandoning the tradition and culture of Yap is it'll be a life you cannot survive. The custom and the tradition provides those opportunity where I can associate with people. I can get fish. I can get taro. I can take a ride like this. So without those traditions and customs, for me, I won't make it. I grew up here. This is an island. I like island lives. It's something that it's more than that I like and I love, because it's something that I grew up with. It's a part of me. and I'm a part of it.
Yap, an exceptional island. Because they had nothing, the inhabitants became intrepid navigators, driven to strike out for new horizons and to bring back their precious stone discs. Since that time, things have remained unchanged, or almost. Seen from the outside, Yap still has nothing much to offer. The islander's fortune is not counted in dollars. It is priceless, as valuable as the memories it embodies. Thus, the people of Yap has forged their destiny, their identity. The ocean might have condemned these islanders to wander endlessly, without roots. But the situation is just the opposite. The Pacific is their last rampart. It allows this culture to flourish in total freedom.
Good morning, Micronesia. It's Saturday in the Western Pacific, July 18th. We're all getting ready for our big Liberation Day party. Let me check to see if there's any ungnil tutaos, any mogaten rananem kasalelia tuwo yakwe bulabanaka loha tolo falava, manu lele, to right mate, bonjour, kiorana for the Cook Islands, kiora.
Bruce's voice casts a wide net all the way to the far-flung limits of Micronesia. Every day at 9 a.m. sharp, this radio buff broadcasts a bulletin intended for the most remote islands.
Okay, if there's no medical emergencies or priority traffic, I copy you, Yap. Let's take a look at your weather. We understand you want to go out and look for some turtles today on West Vayu. Yap weather for today. Variable winds, 5 to 10 knots, becoming southwest afternoon.
Here we're at the University of Guam, a territory administrated by the United States. Bruce is not just a voice. He's also a link between all the islands. A providential man, a clever handyman who over the years has single-handedly set up a communications network covering one of the vastest regions on Earth. He's the one they call when there's an emergency.
The ship was about 4 or 5 days late. Hope everything worked out. If there's anything you need, you know where to find me, over.
Roger. Yeah, I was going to ask if you could connect me to...
When Bruce landed in Guam more than 20 years ago, the outer islands were completely isolated, and this tireless traveler discovered a situation he couldn't have even imagined.
So this is my territory. So I have to go in small boats and canoes to get to these to support the 90 or so outer islands all through this area that have dispensaries, schools, and no communication, no power except for solar that we put in, and of course no airstrip, no links to the outer world except through me. So we have power, we have communication, we have tools.
The network that Bruce set up has been growing little by little. He regularly makes expeditions to install new transmitter receivers. Now he's heading out to the far-off archipelagos.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yes, I am. Are you?
Good to see you. Good
to see you again.
Got enough fuel?
Yes, I
have. All right.
All right, let me just prepare this one quick, and then you can get off. Do you want to sit in the back, or you want to sit in the front?
So, Miwa, how's the weather?
Well, it's going to be nice and clear. There's not much turbulence or anything like that.
No typhoon?
No typhoon yet.
Hey, domo arigato.
quite beautiful today.
Yes, it's
Nice color for the ocean too.
like another world when we go to the outer islands.
That's right.
Leaving Guam means leaving a world of buildings, infrastructure, comfort. The ocean is the last frontier, an insurmountable obstacle for many Micronesians.
I think the Pacific, this area in the Pacific, the most remote areas on Earth, I think that these areas here are the most undiscovered and the most little known, the vast areas. I think we know more about the moon than we do about this deep ocean waters off of Micronesia. Right now, it's rainy season, so the rains can come at any time. They cover the airstrip. Then the small plane cannot land or take off. So then I have to take a canoe to another place and try to find another boat. Sometimes the boat is the only way to get back. It might take you 2 or 3 more weeks than you planned. It's the kind of life that you have to learn to be very patient. You have to be patient with the people. You have to be patient with nature. It makes you see the other side of yourself when you live in the big village or the small city, where you get all wrapped up in your day-to-day. And out here, time has a lot different meaning. The time we have out here, we just do things when we can, when the weather is good, when the surf is not too big to bring the canoe in, when the rains aren't too bad.
All right, Niwa, thank you very much.
All right,
have
see
a
you
safe
soon,
flight
okay?
home. I'll give you a call on the radio.
All right. Talk
You
to
rock,
soon.
woman. Hopefully I'll see you soon, otherwise I'll be on canoe.
Okay. Careful.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
From here on, Bruce has to count on himself. He'll have no more communication with the outside until he arrives at his destination. And he relishes every minute of this time cut off from the rest of the world. Each one of his expeditions takes him to new territories. Bruce is perhaps one of the last explorers. Here, for example, only 1 or 2 boats a year call in at these remote islands to buy the copra harvest.
Oh, I'm like Santa Claus when I come. I bring them stuff and I help them fix it and I give them training. Yes, over the years what I've done is I've learned I need to train the local people. If I don't train the local people, I am very old. Someday I will not be able to come back here, and I need the young men and the young ladies of the village to know how to fix the antennas, fix the solar systems, and maintain the communication network.
In these far-flung archipelagos, the heat is suffocating, the humidity oppressive. With all his voyages, Bruce has come to appreciate these sudden storms and showers. Everyone is glad to have them. Fresh water is precious, for it nourishes the forests and means survival for man. Bruce melts into the vegetation.
When when you're working out here, you feel like you're really doing something, not just pushing paper around or worried about the politics. Working about making money, we don't worry about making money because there is no money out here. It's only fish and coconuts. We trade for taro. Everybody is very peaceful.
In this region of the Pacific, one of the rainiest in the world, the rainstorms are always just passing.
In Micronesia, we say, if you don't like the weather, just wait 1 hour. You will have different weather. Yes, this is where you can really get in touch with your soul. A little bit of rain, pretty soon we'll be back and be in the ocean, and I can wash off, and I'm very happy when I can cleanse my soul and help the people in the outer islands. And I don't have to go to the office every day.
With the evening, a blanket of silence falls. There are no roads here, no means of transportation, no electricity, no telephone, no government even, just the traditional chiefs in each village whose authority is handed down from generation to generation.
As one person, I can feel at the end of the day that I've done quite a bit for them. So I feel like I can really make a difference. Making a difference is very important to me. I have a very short life. I need to help as many people as I can. Life is changing fast for these outer islanders. So I want them to stay here and try to preserve some of the culture, preserve some of this life. There's no place like this on the whole earth. No place where they still do celestial navigation. They watch the stars. They watch the wind and the rains. So they move around in their canoes for many years with no instruments. The only place on earth where they still practice traditional seafaring, traditional navigation.
Voyage after voyage, Bruce has had to face the jungle, the mountains. But once in a while, he gets easy trails as well. Here, the village is a 2-day walk away. Bruce is familiar with the route. He has already been there to meet the villagers and talk about the possibility of setting up a transmitter-receiver there. The villagers were notified of his arrival by the captain of a boat stopping here with a load of material for the long-awaited antenna.
Capture! Hey, Chief!
Oh!
How you doing, brother?
Mr. Betts, Chick.
Hey, second chicken.
We've been waiting for you for quite some times. Welcome to Ulysses.
Oh, thanks. I have your gifts, huh?
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Best.
Oh my gosh, Conchita.
Oh,
How are you?
very good.
I have gifts for you too.
Oh,
Second chick.
Chick. Thank you very much, Mr. Best.
All right, tell you what we're doing.
Chick, Mr. Best.
The custom in these villages is to offer a token of welcome. Today, Bruce has betel nuts wrapped in pepper leaves from Pohnpei. The men of the village sprinkle them with powdered coral and chew them like tobacco.
Fine, and we'll be expecting you for quite some time.
How's Papa Mao?
Papa Mao is okay, but he's getting very old.
Not getting around too much anymore with his diabetes. Huh?
That's correct.
Is he still teaching the children how to celestial navigate?
He's trying to do that, but otherwise his health is not too good.
Yeah. I know, we're all getting old. Actually, Mike and I are close to the same age, so when I first came out to Micronesia, he was a teacher over here across the lagoon. And he came to, for a while, he actually came to Guam to learn, and now he has come back and took the knowledge he learned on Guam, and he's helping his people in the outer islands. A lot of the chiefs, they're allowed to leave when they're young because they go out and they learn worldly things, but they are expected to come back when they get older, and that's when they lead. So they're not leading in a vacuum. They're leading with some knowledge about what's going on in the world. There you go. Get your foot right in there. Resort. Don't let that thing kick back on me, Mike. You're in. Keep your foot on that. Keep your weight on it. There we go. Okay, Mike.
There is no phone at all. This is the only ways and means of communicating with the outside world through the single sideband radio. And we need the antenna and then power by the solar system. We don't have power on the island. It is really means life in this area. It's a lot of things.
The generous Son of the Pacific will help connect people.
Got the power, we got the solar, we got the power cables, everything's ready. Let's see if we can get a hold of Guam. Let's see if this baby cranks up. Got the right mode, upper sideband. Guam, how do you copy? Over. Come on, baby.
This is Guam. Good copy.
Yes! All right.
We have been waiting for many years to have some communication. I mean, Bruce is a very helpful person to us.
Okay, we're going to be waiting for the next plane. He can finally get his news and weather in the morning now, every morning, so he knows what's going on in the rest of the world. This is his window to the global village.
The village is now quietly turning over a new page of its history. Who knows? Perhaps someday there'll be a legend about Bruce, the man who traveled over sea, rivers, and mountains to offer his help to the people of Micronesia. Here, time and space give the measure of life. This was the story of these islanders living on the edge of immensity. This was the story of these bits of land scattered here and there in the largest ocean on Earth, the Pacific.